Hi, everybody. I'm Danilo Rossi. As Carlos said, I'm an architect and designer, but I'm also and proud to be a teacher of Raffles Institute of Milan. I come from a long-lasting experience in the decorative light field, which I have been working approx for 35 years till now. So I started my career with private buildings and interior furnishings until I was proposed to collaborate with a well-known Italian lighting company. It was my uncle at that time, the owner of that company, that contacted me to set up the company's technical department, which didn't exist yet. So I said yes, of course, because it was interesting, really interesting. In the following years, the company became very famous in Italy and also all over the world. Not thanks for me, of course. But that was the beginning of my real professional adventure in this field. The company produced lighting fixture of a modern design, the 70s design precisely, which was invading the world of industrial production in our country. It was in the right midst of the industrial design birth of that period. However, it was a starting point at that moment that opened a world of ideas in this traditional lagoon area, where many other lighting and glass companies were born from that moment. So then, in this company, I started learning a lot regarding the production of light fixtures, from the decorative part, as I said before, to the structures engineering and electric projecting. I learned how to draw something that must be produced in die-cast aluminum or plastic, as well as the work of a mechanical workshop for the other parts, the rules of metal and plastic casting, what is a metal tonnery, for instance, etc. So everything concerned the construction and the production of the structures of a lamp. I also, in a short time, I also learned everything regarding the product certification. So all the electrical and mechanical requirements regarding the products of Europe, Americans, since that factory had a great subsidiary in the United States. So it has been a great teaching to understand the requirements of UL and the Lighted Labs requirements, and others in Asia and in the other parts of the world. In general, I was at the point to understanding what a company is and how it thinks. This is what gave me the opportunity to have a complete or most complete preparation in this field. So I'm happy to be able to teach now at the Raffles Institute this design to our students. And I ask them to have the complete awareness of their projects, up to the analysis of industrial cost and therefore of sell prices, because it's important they know what they are doing and how is heavy their job on the project. So I think it's compulsory for them. Okay, but turning back to the title of this talk, which is Light and Glass Reflections, I would like to continue saying this way. I learned how to dissect the design in the sense of to see the different parts of the design, the creative one with the decorative parts, but also the structuralist part. So this pushed me to be more and more fascinated by it. I learned to know glass, Murano's glass, in all its aspects, for instance, in becoming this job. But soon, the factory and me, we realized that since we were collaborating with designers who were coming from other production areas of Italy and the world, where already known in the world, they were already known in the world of design, it was compulsory, I suppose, to give them, offering them the chance to realize their projects with other types of glass instead of the Murano as well. And thus began a process of deep research on this material that made us and made me able to create all possible design. In fact, I remember that till now, I tell them, don't think to the glass, but please think to the design, because if you enter too much in the world of the glass, maybe it's the first time you see it, you felt in love with all the things, the colors, the decorations that maybe we have already lived back from now. So you think to the design, and together we shall do the construction of the lamp. I can guide you, and you shall guide me. So we collaborate for grow up with the project. Turning back to that experience of the factory, I can say that from that moment, another phase of learning began for me. Learning by designing, because you can see from another point of view the job you are doing. Yes, because at that point, you employ all of your knowledge in the field, and once more, you always want more for yourself, because at a certain point, I became art director of this factory and would cover for other well-known companies. I also started designing lamps too, trying to do it using all the knowledge I had gained on this glass in general. So that was important because I understood at that moment that the designer's job is to be always innovative. There's always a margin of improvement in every field, I say, even when you work in a traditional material. If you know well the material you are working with, and you can find instinctively sometimes, and some other times with thinkings, you can find a margin of improvement each time, I suppose. And this is a job of a designer. And I can say this thanks to the many techniques I have learned: the blown glass, the borosilicate glass, the thermal molded glass, the cast glass, press and rolled glass, and others. So now I should try to give you some samples of this kind of glass I'm speaking about, and showing a short part of the products I designed, so you can understand easily what I mean when I speak to you about the blown, the borosilicate, and the thermal molded. So now I would be happy to show you a PowerPoint that is self-explanatory for you, but also I shall explain you something showing this to you. So Light and Glass Reflections is the title of this talk, and that's significant because we are speaking obviously about the reflections. So I would like to show you my first lamp that I designed in 2000, I suppose 2000. So we shall see with the next slide the correct date. And the idea was born in a thunderstorm day, as I wrote, when the wind came through the windows and raised some sheets pinned to the wall. So I thought could be an interesting idea, but how could I translate it in lamp? And this is the result. Claire is a 2000 year, yes, of course. And as you can see, it seems to be a paper sheet on the wall. The curtain is here just to meaning the windows that is coming inside the room. The first sketching was a little bit different from the final result. Let me explain you the correct parts of this lamp. The most important is the external glass, that is a white serigraphed and mostly thermal molded glass. So the glass originally is a flat sheet of industrial glass that is painted white with serigraph technique, and then it's put in the oven with a metal tutor that has the form of this shape. The glass go down by gravity and heating up to 650 degrees almost. So it takes the final shape, as you can see here. The metal structure is a fold piece of metal that is chrome finish finally or painted, the foil. And it contained inside the electrical part and the light source that in principally at that time was made by fluorescent tubes, and now is being changed with LED modules, of course. All the electrical and lighting compartment is closed by another thermal molded glass, sandblasted this time, and non-white serigraph, because the sandblasting leave a little bit more light to pass through, and in this way it can light it as well. It can light it well the glass outside. I have been honored with the award of Light Fair International in New York Light Center, like the best product of category with this one. So it was really exciting. My first lamp, I had suddenly an award. The second one is really my love. This is the most iconic lamp I designed because it's something unusual. You shall see in the next slides. I remember that was 2002, and we were going to the Frankfurt Light Fair at that period, and I thought to do something that explained the ability to blow and to make glass. So I thought to a big drop that is coming down from the ceiling. So I thought it should be really interesting to be able to do it. It should be a great result. So I remember that I went to the glass factory with my sketch, and I proposed this design to the owner of the glass factory. I remember that he kept silent for some seconds. Then he looked at me and he said, "I think you are crazy. You must be crazy because it's impossible to do it." Okay. From that point, I realized that when you hear "it's impossible," is the reason why you must go enforce your idea, and you must go over, because this is the improvement margin that you can find on a product. So I said, okay, I think the right way we could do it, and I explained it. We can blow and then leave it dropping down in the gravity. So it's much more simple, like you think. And he said, okay, come here tomorrow morning and we shall see what happens. Maybe we shall have a great fun. I went there the morning after, and at the second trial, glow was burning, because it was like I understood. The master, in the first time blow the first drop, then go suddenly on top on the stairs and leave it go down by helping with two co-workers. The first one with fire that heat the glass just to make it much fluid to drop down, and the other one with the fresh air to lock the diameter of the rod. Otherwise, the glass could broken in the middle in a certain point. This lamp has been displayed in Euroluce 2003, I suppose. As you can see, is a 270 centimeters of height, and the splashdown is made by pieces of red glass that simulate a magmatic splash, as you can see. I had great satisfaction with this lamp because it has been well placed everywhere, and it had a great success. And I've been ordered also to place it in the Spa Dior of Paris. So this has been really a great goal for me. The third one is the minimalist lamp. The question is, what time is it? That I called it ora 20. It's 8 o'clock because it simulates a clock, a square clock, with the 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. sign on it. It seems to be really simple, but believe me, every time you see something that seems simple, it hides behind a great difficulties, because this sheet of glass seems to be suspended magically, but really it has a great structure behind it, because this is a white serigraphed and cooked in the oven following 600 degrees, and is suspended by a metal structure that is covered in front by this polyurethane covering that is that has a magnets that keep it on site, and all the rest of the structure is metal, foil metal folded with the circular tube, fluorescent at that time, and now has been replaced suddenly with the LED module. So it's really simple and clean. Let me, okay. It's very simple and clean, and it has been produced in two sizes, 32 and 60, 460 also. This example is another kind of glass that is called the borosilicate glass. Just to explain you, the borosilicate is the Pyrex that is commonly used for the cooking pots. This is made by tubes. They have several kind of tubes with different diameters and different thickness, and they obtain the form by rotating and hitting the tube of glass on a horizontal bar of a lathe. So this is the first sketches where I try also to find a new way to lock the glass on the fixture, just to avoid to seeing screws or some other metal or plastic items to lock it. I thought to a silicone pillow, let me call it pillow, where I can push down the collar of this glass, and then keeping safe on site by two small screws that compress the collar of the glass, so that the glass is locked on the fixture. And this is an easy way to do it, to install it. The characteristic of borosilicate glass is to be heat resistant and also mechanical resistant. It has a height resistance from the point of view mechanic and from the heating, and mostly is really well balanced in each point of the shape, so that, for instance, if you have to make a suspension with a pendant lamp, you can hang it by the electrical wires or the steel wires, it depends, avoiding the system of balancing just to adjust it. So it's really easy to do. But one of the most characteristic of this glass is the finishing that you can give it, because this kind of glass doesn't, how can I say, doesn't have a secondary sodium, can I say, on the surface. Try to understand me. This is really steady, so you can put in a high vacuum and given a sputtering treatment with several metal finishing, like copper finish, silver finish, or gold finish, also. So this is the best way to do with borosilicate because it has no sodium shade like Murano glass, classical Murano glass. But another magic of this use of this kind of glass is that when you give this treatment, the metallic treatment that now is doing also by spraying and then cooking in the oven, when the light is off, it seems to be compact, totally opaque, and it seems to be covering the glass. But when you switch on, it appears the soul of the lamp. The light source inside, that in this case is covered with another borosilicate sandblasted tubes, and it reveals the soul of the lamp. So off and on, it's really amazing. Just to explain you something about the borosilicate glass, I told you that it is used in tubings. For instance, this is the working of one of the glasses for lighting, and they chose this kind of tube. For instance, I don't know, maybe it could be 7 centimeters of diameter or 10 centimeters diameter with the right thickness, because when it is heated and blow inside, it must take a consistency, and it must go to touch all the parts of the mold that in this case is the half form of the diffuser, and they obtain the complete form by rotating it around an horizontal lathe. This that you can see now is the graphite shape that give it the form that it obtained totally when it turned around continuously and by heating. On the right, you see another kind of glass that I designed that is called Rosé. It looks like a glass of wine, and the Rosé is a kind of wine, of course. And this finish is also a sputtering finish that is a rose gold finish. But as you can see, you can give it the fading because it started to be opaque, completely opaque, and then go up to the transparency of the glass. This is really interesting. So now I show you for a short minutes a typical working of this glass. Okay, I hope this is self-explanatory for you. As you can see, this is a lid, and this is the tube that is modified by heating, and it obtains the form coupling with the half shape of the graphite mold. This is the typical working of the borosilicate. Okay. Now I show you another lamp I designed in 2015 that had been awarded in 2017, like Carlo Folcolini said before. This is also made by borosilicate in a big lathe, because all the suppliers from the beginning of their job, they made only small vases, something just to make um, small things for the table. But now they are really specialized for the lighting, and some one of them had great lift, so that they can work a big size of glass. So I was fascinated by the multiple overlapping of glass, and in the beginning I thought to different colors, different transparent colors, just to show the changing of the color when one is behind the other. But following the study, I prefer to give them different finishes. Trigona, it is an Italian name, it means three. This three means three, so 3 layers of glass. It's a large scale borosilicate because, as you can see, is 50 centimeters height and 31 large. That is a big scale for borosilicate glass. It has 3 kinds of glass, one inside the other, with 3 specific treatments different. So the first one is the sandblasted on top for the internal glass, because it is in full contact with the light source, and so it can be a diffuser for all the other overlapped layers. And mostly I have to say that this lamp is full of LED modules. It has an LED from the upward projection, an LED for the downward projection, and one just to wash the inside glass. The middle one is in the shiny metal sputtering that have been produced in several colors that I shall show you in the next slides. And the outside is white faded, like in this case, or black faded, as you shall see. This is definitely a large case of lamp, not cheap, of course, a little bit expensive, but I'm happy to consider this one my second big goal I've made after the glow, because I'm in love with this lamp also. So here you can see better which is the effect of the 3 overlapped forms. You can have the middle inside in rose metal, in titanium metal, and gold metal. As you can see here, this is a rose, white on the center one, or black faded, as in this case, gold and silver, with different options. Let's go in another way. This is a typical demonstration, what I said in the beginning of this talk. So when you know enough about the matter, like glass, you can find always a margin of improvement. This is a typical Murano glass. They told me in the glass factory that it has me that invented this one. I didn't suppose it, but they said, yes, you have invented this. We never done this one. So believe me, this is really simple to obtain. I have only kept out one of the 3 phases, which normally they blow in the glass. So this is the result, really interesting, because I was thinking to something that could be similar to a sponge and maybe a moon-like surface. So this is why I call this slide, Shall We Land on the Moon? And now I show you another small movie where you can understand what I mean.
Okay.
I hope you understand what I mean. Um, there are three different techniques used on this lamp. The first one that I show you is a sphere, a blown sphere with traditional Murano's techniques. And the characteristic of this sphere is to have some crystal fragments inside the white. Believe me, the white is a perfect diffuser normally for the light fixtures, but this transparent crystal inside give it much more brightness on that point, so that uh, when you switch on the light, the crystal appears in this way, much more brilliant than the white one. Otherwise, when you switch off, it seems to have a sponge. You need to touch it because you believe to find some cavities that they are not cavities. It's only the transparency of the crystal that show better inside the cave it makes. So the inside one is a white sphere. The outside is another borosilicate glass with a new technique that I experimented. Is this thinny striping that you can uh, perceive in this picture? That it seems to be something like how can I say? Um, someone asked me if they are if is the picture is not correct picture. There seems to be pixeled. Seems to be pixeled. It's not so. It's the striping of the outside glass that show you this scale, the fragmented line of the glass. So this is a big lamp because the size is 31 diameter and 60, a little bit more of 60 of height. This is a great result for borosilicate glass. And the third one, treatment is the cobalt blue coating treatment on top, just to simulate the dark side of the moon. But at this point, I said, okay, that is not only the moon in, in our in our world. Huh? Maybe there are some other planets, and why not simulate Mars? This is the same structure of the lamp, the white one inside, and the cobalt blue, and sorry, the borosilicate outside. But instead of the cobalt blue on top, this is a new treatment, coating treatment with copper metal base. Really whimsical because when you switch off, it seems to be copper, full copper opaque. But when you switch on, in the transparency, it reveals the blue base that it has. So this is the last lamp I made that make me greatly satisfied. Another one, just to show you a typical blowing of Murano glass, is this one. It's called nuce, like a mix of nuts, as you can see in this design, that is made by blowing with 4 different textures outside. The torchon from the French, balloton, that is a squared texture you see in here, the straight striping, sorry, and this one, as you call balloton. So I gave them 4 different treatments, texturing, 4 different texture and 4 different colors coupled to the related treatment. Seems to be some kind of peel, just some exotic fruit, as I wrote on this slide. As you can see much more closely, in this close-up, you see the magic of the glass. That is really beautiful. This is a typical Murano glass. You can obtain several things, whimsical things, if you know the right way to use it. Another one I want to show you is not a lamp, is a vase, is a series of vases that are made in 1995 for another glass company. This is a sample of a series of, I suppose, remember to 8 or 10 kind of vases that I called Maestrale and Libeccio, that are two typical winds of the Adriatic Sea. Why Maestrale and Libeccio? Because the top of these glasses that I designed in this way is just to simulate the wind that shapes their manners. So like in this way. And this is the final result. It's really interesting, very delicate glass with different colors fading, like the red one, the green one, and the blue one. So just to obtain this, this typical design that I love much. So I think to have finished my displaying. Thank you for this opportunity. Goodbye to everybody.